discuss today. So welcome to the second edition of That Floats Happy Hour. So we've got a dog and a lot of nice people here. And Mookie, we got Steve Gottheim's little son. And Ed McDonald, Steve's other son, is joined us as well too.
Hey, Dad.
Craig, I know we wanted to talk like digital closings and what they mean and kind of clearing up some things, because I know as far as we're concerned with a lot of our agents, they're like, hey, Ron's now available. I just need to close all my stuff remotely. But you can't, can you?
Boy, it's been a hell of a lot of fun. As we mentioned the last time on this, and just an anecdote, in Wisconsin, we had the governor put in emergency rules last week. So we're available to do it now. And we've done our first 2 or 3 where we are the notary. I mean, it's so much easier if you can just send all the docs to Notary Cam or Notarize or one of those companies and let them do all the work. The next day you walk in, you've got a completed closing package. Mm-hmm. Awesome. But when you have to do it yourself, wow, is that interesting? So yeah, we're kind of learning it the fun way right now.
So if it's so much easier when they do it, why would you do it?
Well, right now, certain notary companies have mentioned that they're behind right now, or they're not even looking at anything. So for instance, the couple of the vendors that we use, where the easy version, like I just mentioned, they said to give them 48-hour lead time, and that 48 hours is the quickest they will even look at your request. Not that they can close in 48 hours. It's the quickest that they can actually look that you have a request for a remote notary. Then they have to tag the documents. Then they need to connect with the borrowers or the sellers or whoever it is. Then they have to arrange a closing. So 48 hours is just how many days they need to get back to you. So if you have your best customer calls today, or I've got an emergency Monday morning, I could really use some help, you've got to have that internal version too, which we use Pavaso for the internal version.
Makes sense.
Yep. Now, Ed, I know you've closed quite a lot of these too, right?
No, I've done hybrids. I have not done the full e-notary. E-notary is not legal in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia.
When you say the hybrids, what's that mean?
It's where you're in person and it's half electronic, and then you have a wet note.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I mean,
so
that's
2008.
Say what, Craig?
That's so 2008.
That's
yeah. But here's the thing, Craig. I think a lot of agents think that every lender is set up for a Ron Notary closing.
It's been a blast trying to deal with lenders this week that say, okay, hey, I saw your tweets or Facebook posts that Nightberry, you guys are Ron ready. So how do we do this? And I said, well, who's your platform? Because you need to set up an e-note vault provider. You need to register with MERS. You need to do all this. And they say, no, we don't want any of that. We just want you to notarize the mortgage. And that's not how it works. So lenders are quickly catching up to where they need to be, at least in our markets. Minnesota, Wisconsin, some of Florida is getting ready as well.
And I've heard that there are some large national lenders that are actually saying no Ron closings.
Sent out a memo today.
That's the one I was teeing that up. I was getting ready to. And so John, you saw that as well, huh?
Did see that. They'll slam you some credit or a new account, but they won't do a Ron.
What was the reason behind it?
No reason.
Well,
No.
I think a lot of it too is there's just not enough. There's so much Ron being, like, one, they can't get in fast enough to get these done. Two, there's not enough counties that will e-record. I mean, there's still only about a third of the counties nationally that are e-recording. There's a lot that aren't. And so I think there's just so many hiccups right now. I mean, has anybody closed one with Notary Cam?
Yeah, but David, you can paper out and record.
With Notary Cam?
Yeah, I have.
When did you close one with Notary Cam?
Not alone though.
Okay.
Not alone. Loans, we're still waiting on our first lender to say that they can actually figure it out.
Okay.
I don't know if Elizabeth Blosser sent out an email to the state LTAs today that included a link to the MERS page that has the list of what lenders are signed up with them and are able to currently accept e-notes. So that was a good read to see if any of the lenders in your region or that you work with are ready to go.
Oh, that we have that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing. We're going to do a webinar, I know, for our agents and folks next week about, you know, what it takes to do an online closing, to do a RON closing versus a regular one, but also the kind of the hybrids that Ed's talking about as well. So
Hybrids,
think that RON's going to be this silver bullet that's going to fix everything. Craig, what do you, I mean,
the hybrids aren't that
agents
complicated.
that are on.
No, not at all.
The hybrids are pretty easy. They come into your office, they sit down in front of your computer in your closing room, they click through all the docs, and they wet sign the note or the mortgage or whatever they need. So that doesn't really help anything today because they still have to come and sit with you.
Yeah.
So hybrids, forget hybrids. Hybrids is, that's why I said it's till 2008. That's pre-Corona, pre-beer virus. I really like Corona. It's getting bad. It's getting trashed. The Constellation Fund's getting trashed. So let's
We
just
actually
say
have
no Corona. We call it beer virus.
beer.
So wouldn't you think, though, what we're looking at in our market is that we did get our RON rules moved up, kind of like Wisconsin did. But we can't, also isn't set up in Washington to do on their platform. So, and I think the same with most of the platforms. They're not ready for, they haven't enabled it first. But I'm still looking at hybrid being helpful in that I can have anything that doesn't require the notarization electronically signed, send it through DocuSign or whatever, and then at least there's only a couple things that my client can come sit in my parking lot in their car and sign, and then they're not, they don't have to be exposed to anybody but the person running out to hand them those 3 documents or 2 documents and go get them and notarize them.
Well, I mean, it's super interesting. I mean, depending on who you listen to about how long this is going to take, the thing I like about this the most is I've been wanting to do RON and you know, as a convenience for people that don't want to take time off of work to come into a closing or time, but get babysit, somebody pick up the kids from school and figure all that out. So I've been excited about this. This just pushed our delivery of RON to our customers up a couple of years and made it, instantaneous. So I'm excited about this. I don't know, even when this goes away, I'm excited because our staff's engaged now. They've spent time, they've watched endless videos on training and how to tag documents. The hardest part we're finding right now with Provaso, since you have to be the notary as the title agent, is picture your grandma, and your grandma's got a Gateway 2000. Is that what they were called? Okay. And they've got an external USB webcam from Target that they bought for $19 in 2008. And they've got that big giant microphone like the Price is Right guy used to have sitting on their desk. And then you have to walk them through, like David, and you have to walk them through turning on the camera, holding up the ID still enough so we can capture an image and run it through the Fed database, getting the microphone to sharing their screen. It's a lot of work. So that's kind of what we've been up against on the first internal rounds. Hopefully it gets easier. Like riding a bike, you fall down, you scrape your knees and elbows, and it gets easier every time, and then you don't forget it. But right now, that's the challenge. That's why I think the companies that have notaries available for you, where all you have to do is give them your docs and they do it all, let them figure that out. But unfortunately, they're 48 hours delayed before they even call you back right now.
Yeah, they're so slammed. And by the way, I've got everybody on mute. If you want to, you can easily unmute when you're ready to talk. So just the more people we have, the more background noise we get. So I know that if you want to chime in, go ahead and say it. These emergency rules that are popping up are kind of weird. we're dealing in Missouri right now. The Secretary of State, they want to just open it up to even Skype and FaceTime for the old attorneys like me that still use WordPerfect and things like that. It's amazing. They're like these rural attorneys, like Craig said, they're not going to have the technology for this, and they want to be able to do a will or something. You know, is anybody else seeing that? Don't forget to unmute.
Yeah. By the way, on the wills, Wisconsin does not allow any testamentary or probate or wills or any of that to be done remotely. It's just everything else except that. And now those lawyers that lobbied against remote online notary, you know, the probate and estate planning people that were completely against this are now scrambling like, well, shit, we're closed. They're not coming into the office. Boy, we wish we had Ron. So now they're asking Wisconsin to kind of unwind that and let them in. So
yeah,
interesting how that's playing out.
Hey, David, I've been working in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia on some executive orders and going back and forth with the real estate bar.
yeah.
It looks like they're all going to come out with that looser, least attractive option where it's going to be choose your own platform, whether it's FaceTime or Skype or whatever, that I don't think is very attractive to our lenders. But the reasoning was for the rural attorneys as well as the probate bar as well.
Yeah, Steve Gottheim, didn't New York has a similar emergency order as well too? Have you? I'm sure you've looked at that.
New York has a similar emergency order. There's a couple of other states that have it. Massachusetts is trying to pass a quick emergency bill on that subject. Georgia just put out an emergency order that's better than the New York one, but also allows a little bit more of those. Watch me sign a document over FaceTime and then I can fax it to you type of version of Ron that they think works. So it is all over the board right now.
Gotcha.
When our Ron rule got put in place a couple nights ago, one of the first things I did was send an email out to my realtors because they were very excited that it had come through, and the Realtor Association was telling all of them that, you know, we could all do this now. And so I went ahead and put something out to our associations outlining the fact that it wasn't going to just be instantly available to everybody, that the lender has to approve and it has to be done over a platform that can record, and mention the fact that, you know, the client's going to have a computer with a webcam and a microphone and speakers. And so I tried to get out ahead of that to at least give people the heads up that this is going to help some of our clients, but it's not going to be the end all be all. Everybody can sign from their living room now.
We have one title agency, and they're very large in Wisconsin, that is allowing people to sign documents on FaceTime with the title attorney at this title agency, watching them sign documents on FaceTime, paying the FedEx fee to ship it to the title company where they'll notarize it and record it. One underwriter has already blessed this, which circumvents all of the rules of notarization, kills the notary industry as far as everything we've been working on for a few years. And I think they're out of their mind. So that happened about 2 hours ago. So we're going to try to figure out what that underwriter was thinking. But yeah, I mean, Governor Cuomo in New York says FaceTime notaries are acceptable. That doesn't mean a title insurer has to accept it for insurability or even recordability. So it's just crazy how this has gotten out of control in just a few days.
Yeah, it's really kind of just getting a life of its own as far as what's happening in the marketplace. Jamie Kosofsky just threw one back. Jamie, what are you seeing in all this good fun Ron stuff?
You're howdy. I'll come say hi to Dave Townsend.
Yes. Oh, is this Beck? Hey, Beck.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Jamie's here. All right, Jamie. Jamie, you were one of the first people to do like digital closings? You know, have you done a RON closing? Give me the rundown on your experiences on all this.
So we have not gotten our RON statute yet, or our RON order yet. It's going to be called Emergency Video Notarization. It is going to be very temporary, and it is wide open, like you were talking about earlier, where it's anything goes. As long as you got audio, video, you're going to be able to notarize it. The good thing is, though, is I think the title underwriters will, they're not going to write insurance on that. So I think that, our standards are still going to be protected by that. But, the reason they're doing it like that is because they don't want people that need things other than mortgage documents to not be able to notarize.
Something similar came out in Georgia today, Jamie.
Did it? The only problem with ours, guys, is that the state bar got a hold of it. And it says that you've either got to be an attorney who's a notary, or you have to be a notary under the direct supervision of an attorney. So it's kind of crazy.
I think George is.
How'd you get to Cody's house?
What's up,
Jamie
buddy?
just saw Flat Stephanie, and I just saw not Flat Jeff Bates.
Flat Jeff.
What up, Jamie?
Not Flat Jeff.
What's going on,
3D Jeff.
guys? This is one heck of a party.
We got double DeBello.
Right.
Hey, by the
There we go.
way,
Only two
DeBello,
here, but whatever.
DeBello featured yesterday in the 10-minute video on that float. So if you haven't watched it and you want to know about getting some remote workforce help in times of need, those are your guys. There's your commercial. I'll send you my bill for $5,000.
I will pay you with a post-dated check, sir.
Hey, Craig, can you repeat what you were saying about the notary platforms and their backup on the Jamie, you'd like to hear this, the backup or logjam there is on getting your closings using the e-notary platforms?
Yeah, so the couple that are most familiar that start with the word notary have kind of said that they need 48 hours before they can get to you. So it's not, so let's say you have a closing Wednesday morning and you're thinking, all right, well, that's 48 hours. No, it's 48 hours from when they'll first take your call or at least look at your file. That doesn't mean you can start booking in 48 hours. That means they're going to look at your file and tag you. Then you can send the docs. Then they'll tag them. Then they'll connect with the borrower and set everything up. So they're just inundated with volume right now. I mean, it's a great solution they have, but I mean, they're pretty backed up. Whereas Pavaso, if you can do it yourself, you could do it in 10 minutes, but it's a hell of a lot of work.
Right. So for us in North Carolina right now, Notarize, we can't use Notarize. We cannot use Notary Cam. We can only use Doc Verify and Pavaso.
Yeah.
Because there are 8 approved vendors, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, you've also got the thing where your state's going to require that you are the notary inside your state for people inside your state and real estate inside your state, where other states, everyone has a different rule. I mean, in Wisconsin, I don't care where you are. We'll notarize you if you're on the moon. But every state's different. Last night at 9 o'clock, we did a closing for a person buying property in Florida from one of our Florida offices, but our Florida people don't have their RON authorization yet. So our Wisconsin notary, who is RON enabled, notarized a Florida property, and the people that were buying it are in New York. So we had the weirdest thing. But you have to check every state's rules and see, okay, where's the property, where's the notary, where's the person signing, and figure out if that works. That's why I'm kind of excited about this national legislation, as soon as Steve walks away, of course, to find out where we are on the national front. Well, because of the national thing, Dave, if the federal legislation on notaries kind of consolidates everything, I know, in Montana, you've got the notary, the signer, and the property has to be within the state lines of Montana, but it's not like that in every state. It's almost like you need this crazy matrix to figure out what to do.
Yeah, it's and I was talking to Steve and Elizabeth about this yesterday, about all the different types of stuff. So hopefully the federal legislation will really help on this. Steve just jumped out. We can ask him when he gets back in. I know you just probably said that, but there he is. Steve, you look like you're going out for a walk.
I am. Somebody's getting a little restless around here.
Well, Rachel needs her walk.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys want to come and join me, I've got 4 teenage girls and my wife.
You're on your own.
No, thanks. Yeah, nope.
You might need that handle of Tito's more than Craig.
Exactly.
I have 3 teenage boys right out here. That's all I need.
So, Steve, we were just talking when you weren't here about the whole federal legislation. How's that looking?
So it did not make it into the package that just passed the House and that Mr. Trump just signed an hour or so ago. We're still pretty optimistic that there are some avenues that we can exploit to get it moving. I will tell you the biggest hurdle that we're facing is that there's one senator that does not like the bill, mostly for unknown reasons, and that's the only reason we didn't get in this time. So we're hopeful that we can solve those problems and maybe get working for what they're calling Package 4, which will be the next set of stimulus that goes out.
Steve, I was saying before when you walked away that the problem we're having as a title agent in 4 states, and we're only in 4 states right now, is that every state has different, like completely different rules, whether where the property is, where the borrower is, where the notary is. The one we did yesterday, the property is in Florida, buyers in New York, our notary is sitting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It worked well, but we couldn't, that's the only way we can finagle it because some states have different restrictions. So it would be nice to have some kind of you're never going to get 50 states to agree, but it'd be nice if the feds just kind of helped us figure something out.
Well, the more states that take the Alta MBA model or the Uniform Law Commission model, the better. Those 2 laws are pretty much identical and would allow the same thing. It's the states that do their own variant, or those are the problems. And what we're seeing is, again, the states that have gone kind of crazy soft with their executive orders versus the states that have just adopted what the normal industry would require. It's also a problem.
Right.
Hey, has anybody had issues with notaries taking assignment, not having an issue with the borrower, but then all of a sudden them flaking on the way there?
Yep. Yeah, we're having trouble with that. We've also had one test positive for the virus as well, and that was real fun. We had to backtrack her schedule for about 14 days, and she's one of our more busy notaries, so kind of sucks having to deal with that.
Yeah, we use a national provider for mobile notaries where I don't really like, our staff's not allowed to go to someone's house unless they personally know them, like as a favor or something. But we have a national notary service that we use for that. And if you've called their phone number anytime in the last week and a half, it just rings and rings and rings. I mean, it's nearly impossible for us to find a mobile notary service at any cost to go do closings in people's house, not infected people or symptomatic people. Just people who are sitting at home because they don't have a job, or they're restaurant workers with nothing to do, and they're just need someone to come do the closing, and they just no good. Can't find them.
How are people doing on orders? Our orders are going through the roof right now.
Still?
Record breaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that because Damon with Apex, he is 92, 93% purchase, and on average his closings are about $850 to $900 a month, and he's at $1,500 right now. And he's in Tulsa. He's just, it's all purchase.
I'm really concerned about cancellations because there's a lot of folks with jobs but no paychecks, which doesn't qualify you. So this verification of employment thing is going to be a mess. And then on top of that, even if they do cancel now, and when this ends, they're going back to work. They're going to still want to refinance their loans. So we're just taking our pipeline now, pausing it, and then destroying us in the summertime, which is if you're in the Midwest, summertime, you've got no time at all. I mean, you work as many hours as you can. You don't have time for adding 10,000 refis on top of your normal pipeline. I don't know what we're going to do.
Sounds
So
like
it's a fun
perfect,
problem to have.
situation for a remote supplemental workforce, Craig.
Yes, Jeff, you guys are rock stars for us, so I'll give you a plug for sure.
Jeff, how much business and Andrew has come your way since the That Floats video? I mean, I just want to know: are you guys inundated with requests?
And we went to
filling out I had a
answer in dollars.
blank DBello commission check. I didn't know if That Floats was an official entity. Would you guys be able to negotiate that?
So to Craig's point,
on here do additional work that's like maybe ancillary services like just legal typing or commitment typing or anything along those lines?
Andrew, you're up, brother.
I won't lie, I tuned out, but I heard the end of it of doing commitment typing and legal typing. So if that was the full question, then yes, that is our bread and butter. I'd say one of many things.
So
Give us access.
Has your phone been ringing off the hook with India going down and that solution for other people going by the wayside?
Jeff and I have had, I feel like, more phone calls this week than like the last just year combined, as we've had our operations fully staffed and remote and working. We've had everyone coming out of the woodworks of, we need help now, or we need to have multiple vendors so we're not a single point of failure. And we have been busier than ever. So sleep is a rare thing over here.
Same here. I can tell you today, in the last 3 hours, I got 5 phone calls from people that were utilizing offshore for a lot of their legal typing, and we're just begging for help.
We got some new folks joining. We got Brent Shear and Lindsay.
Hey, everybody, meet Lindsay. She came on with us just recently to handle our marketing, and she's been the one helping put together all our symposium.
Lindsay is a rock star.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
Cheers.
Hello. Hey, Brent.
Cheers.
there you go.
All right.
Brent,
Yes.
it's like I haven't talked to you in like 2 hours.
I love Stephanie. Cody, congratulations.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Now, Cody.
Cody's apparently my keeper.
Cody, that looks like a RESPA violation. That looks like a thing of value that was given to you for an inducement to refinance.
No. I want to tell you the full story.
Please, I would like to know the full
An
story.
attorney showed up at Cody's house, and when they walked in, Stephanie was sitting there, and the attorney said, "Oh, so you know Stephanie?" And he goes, "Nah, this thing came with the house."
Yeah, it was already here.
Oh, so
was Tammy.
Cody, see how this works now.
It was our first virtual witness.
Right, we needed a witness, and well, thank you, Stephanie.
Anytime.
Stephanie is the new giraffe.
No. You know, we need to get that thing
What?
redone.
What?
Can someone mute Brent Shear and that awful bird in the background?
That might be my bird. Hold on.
I think that's Stephanie.
My bad.
Craig, you were mentioning earlier about how, in a few months, or the volume and just being ready for the kind of like, holy crap, here comes all this business, right? What do you guys know about the stimulus bill? Meaning the way, when Ed's not here, but the broker who we went through to refi, I asked her the other day, I said, why are the rates the way they are? What's going on with that? Is it because you guys are kind of pushing the rates high because you don't want the volume? And she said, absolutely not. It's because all these money market backed securities managers are pulling money out of the market And that's what's part of the stimulus bill, is to just funnel all that dollars back into it so that the lenders then start saying, hey, we're ready to kind of funnel money back in. What do you guys know about that? Is there any kind of details, or what do you, I mean, Craig, I think you bring up a valid point about, like, in a few months, it might get just bonkers.
I mean, our order count's been down only the last couple of days off of its record high. We had 9 straight record-breaking days, which were insane on top, right during this Corona thing. So all of last week and all of this week until 2 days ago, I would say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we break records every day. We're 165 years old, so it's not like we're a 3-year-old title agency or something. So it's been really nerve-wracking knowing that I've got some staff working from home, some staff is concerned about whether they want to come in and trying to figure out how to close this volume. But only in the last couple of days, our order counts have come down just a tad back to normalcy. And some of the lenders have said that the money's dried up. So if you're a Ginnie Mae type lender and you're looking for government type loans, that money's gone. And they're more focused on purchases, not refinances right now. And I said that last week on this same call that that was coming, and it seems to be here, especially on the non-owner occupied stuff is pretty much dead in the water right now too, from what I understand.
Yeah, non-QM lending right now has just ground to a halt.
Yeah.
Because if it's not government backed and they're selling to outside investors, they're not able, there's no liquidity in that marketplace right now.
That's right. That's what I'm hearing. So I think the dip down in what we've seen this week on the refinance side has been non-QM. It just completely evaporated. Fortunately, March is the start of the spring in Wisconsin, Midwest. So the snow's gone. It's starting to get warm outside, and people start selling homes quickly. We have a very steep curve that hits right now and lasts until, Halloween, and then it just dies again. So we're about to enter a very difficult purchase market. I mean, you've read everything you know about the realtors. They're concerned. There are online showings, virtual tours, but buyers, I don't know what the buyer's ability to go out and walk through someone else's house. If my house was for sale right now, I wouldn't want randos walking through my house anyways. So I'm really concerned about the purchase market right now, which is really what pays a hell of a lot of our bills right now. But luckily we have this whole refinance crunch, which looks great on paper because we're gangbusters. Revenue, we're an accrual-based accounting system. Revenue looks like we've got more money than we need, but I don't know how much of that is actually going to close. So it's just day by day here.
Yeah, Craig, I was reading a Housing Wire article the other day that virtual showings are way up, and that houses that have like the 3D or the virtual online showings are selling at a much higher pace than ones without.
Would you buy a house would you ever buy a house through a virtual showing only?
Well, if I was having to reload for a job and they were doing it, maybe if it was a detailed enough video.
Let's talk about a 95% of the world.
All this happened, though. That was already trending.
But would you buy a house with like Pittman wants something to say? It looks like he's about to yap in here. Would you buy a house with
Wage Earning Homes?
We've gotten multiple contracts this week where buyers have never been in the house.
See, Craig?
Awesome.
Welcome to modern times.
I couldn't do it. I want to open the drawers and, kick the tires.
Uh-huh. So, Brian, are those,
David,
can you tell
Craig,
what type of,
2008.
Are those people moving into Austin, obviously, because, it's Austin, but for jobs or what type of people are doing that?
It's a combination of both. It's people relocating here, or it's people that have been looking for a house for a while and inventory's been so tight they hadn't been able to buy anything. And so what people are doing is they're writing the contract based off of looking at it online, getting it under contract, and then in Texas we have an option fee where they kind of have a free look at it for a couple of days before that contract goes hard. And so they get the deal under contract, use the time in their option period to go look at it. If they like it, then they don't exercise their option to bust. If they don't like it, then they bust and go to the next one.
Isn't it just like writing a subject to exception or something like that? It's like an inspection?
Right.
Yep. Basically.
Here's my offer, subject to the contingency whether I like it.
Well, but you know, Brian brings up a great point here. We've got such a crunch on inventory that if it's in the right school district, the right square footage, and they like the floor plan enough, they can change the tile, they can change the carpet. That they just need to be where they need to be. They might snap that up. You never know.
Yeah, because a month and a half ago, we were multiple offers on everything, and now they're not having to fight that. They can write a contract and, probably get it for a better price and then go look at it and move forward.
Wow.
Hey, does anybody many people in here do foreclosure?
Yeah, we have a foreclosure department.
The reason I was asking, how's that? Are you guys just at a standstill?
Yeah, we're hearing everything you're hearing. Like, everything's on pause. But here's what we're hearing.
The three major foreclosure law firms here just had major layoffs, and I know that everybody's looking for staff. So, I mean, obviously, Craig, you got a big pipeline there. I would start switching those people over.
I'm so far from what we know, they're still placing the initial and every state's different, but they're still placing the initial foreclosure report from us so they can figure out who's on title, what liens are ahead of or what liens are behind, how are they on taxes, that sort of thing. And then when they get the report from us, they pay us and they just don't do anything. All the hearings are canceled, all the proceedings are on hold. So we're at least still getting orders and they pay us right away, but the actual outcome of the case is just on pause indefinitely.
How do you get them to pay you right away on a TSG?
We have pretty good customers, I guess.
I guess so.
The Milwaukee Mafia,
right?
It's a couple hundred orders a month. It's not, it's not earth-shattering stuff. So we have a handful of people there's a couple people who do that work. We used to do.
It's not Title Lawyer Joe kind of money, like that 2 comma lifestyle. So. He's asleep. He didn't hear that.
Well, I can tell you personally from where we're at, we've been looking at a second house, lake property, whatever. And every time I go to Zillow or every time I'm on realtor.com and I get the notifications from the different areas, everything is a virtual tour. I mean, for me, where I'm at, I know what I'm looking for. I have no problem doing a virtual tour and then getting more deep into it. So
see you say that, Cody, we actually had a claim where the houses were off. They weren't built right because the lot lines on the platted subdivision were off a little bit, and one of the lot lines went through a garage of the house next to it, and the people bought the house sight unseen and said, no, we meant to buy half the neighbor's garage. Yeah. Yeah, we're like, no. Unfortunately, we insured both houses. So we're like, you guys gotta work, we gotta work this out somehow. And the people that bought the house and the half the garage were absolute, I won't say it because we're taping this, but yeah, very difficult to work with. Let's just put it that way. And
well, to Brian's point though, I mean, I don't know, the virtual tours, I guess you know what you're looking for.
And speaking of iBuyers, how about the announcement the last couple of days of all these iBuyers bailing in the market right now? So boy, that's been interesting to see too. I mean, we were nervous because all those iBuyers have their own title companies, so it's interesting to see what happens with that.
There's some good talent.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's some good talent at those titles if they're not going to be closing for 90 days.
Absolutely.
Just waiting, Ed. We're just waiting.
Yeah, Zillow said they're just suspending until it comes back. So
aren't we all?
Well, I mean, if they have the same 90-day eviction pause, right? So they're going to have the same issues.
Are you guys seeing any interruptions in being able to fund from a refinance transaction, etc.?
No.
We've been
I've
having
heard of it.
issues actually with the HOA mafia, the companies that provide the letter and then charge you $39 sometimes, and maybe $275 if it's in a different subdivision for the same information. We've been seeing that they have a hard time where they don't realize that they should stay staffed, which is causing a delay in getting those letters, which are jeopardizing some rate locks.
I mean, guys, if the courthouses in North Carolina close, there will be no disbursement at all in the state. We can't close, and I'm sorry, we can't disperse until we're.
One thing that, like last week, we were really concerned about the recorders being able to take documents for recording. And so far in all of our markets, everybody is electronically recording. So I'm good on that. Then it turned into, well, what if they close the courthouse? How are we going to get the document searches? So far, we're good on that because most of them are electronic, or we have title plants. And so I'm happy about that. Then this week, where on a purchase, you want to find out what the utility charges are from the seller so you can address those on the closing statements, or the condo fees. And now those people aren't going to the office. They're not reachable. So those are the things that we've tackled in the last couple of days, is how do you clear up everything on a closing if the seller lives in a condominium that has, potential charges you're supposed to collect at the closing, but Dorothy in unit 301 isn't taking calls anymore. So those are some of the issues we're messing with this week. And it's all indemnities. The underwriters, I think, have been pretty good on that.
Yeah, Jamie and Ed, I mean, in North Carolina, right, you cannot record until it's funded, right?
You're not supposed to, or else you'll face fines and sanctions.
Is there any relief on that right now?
Yeah, you got to have a lot of money, and you got to like jail.
So Jamie, basically.
No.
lot of money and like jail. Okay, that's Jamie.
That's me. I'm not big enough for prison, though.
Wait, what the heck is Lindsay drinking? Can we concentrate on that for a second? Oh, it's
a Stella in a very classy koozie. Okay, look at her. She is marketing. ABC, always be closing there with the McDonald's.
Always be closing.
Paid endorsement.
And look at Ed.
Yeah.
And Brad's repping there with the Ops Insights.
Brad's just laying low. Brad doesn't.
Hey, I gotta say, Adaptive is the first person to show up so far with a virtual witness.
I mean, go Resware. Just kidding.
I'm gonna have to change to be more branded here for the background.
I will tell you this though, guys, and just we have had more companies that are on their platform ordering more licenses, which means growth. People hiring more people to help with that than we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
Hey, I did have a question. Has anybody really looked at that stimulus bill and the loans that are out there for businesses, whether they're healthy or not?
Yeah, you got to. I mean, the problem with that, Ed, it's like any other SBA loan. They're going to come do inspections. They're going to have to do title searches. They're going to have to do all that other crap, which is good for us. But at the same time, are you going to let them in your house?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Come audit my books?
No, no. With an SBA, they're going to take your house as collateral. They're going to want.
Are they really?
Yeah. That's what I read this morning.
Has anybody really looked into their business interruption insurance? Not necessarily saying that you're down, but with the notary issue is definitely a business interruption occurrence.
Well, David, we were talking about this the other day because we were going down that path, but I don't know that this is going to be covered because it's considered an act of God, or what's the legalese can be clarified here.
Yeah, it's going to depend on what the language in the policy states. I mean, some are trying to get out of this, that it's a force majeure issue and not an issue of coverage. So it all depends how the actual insurer defines what coronavirus is.
All right, I'm going to go. Good seeing everybody. Have a great weekend. And
We'll see you guys.
Hey, Cody, enjoy the carpool lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Craig, we will
Really
keep this down to an hour then.
Anything for you, Cuddy.
We really appreciate our new attendees with Jeff and Lindsay. John joined us, and Cody, Brad, Jamie.
Hey,
Acker was on there.
So, yep.
I had to put it back to work. Sorry.
Thank you. So, all right, guys. We'll chat with you next week.
Guys, have a good one.
Adios.
Guys,
Bye.
see ya. Thanks.
Let the rhythm just